Alright, welcome back to more Lost Isle. And we got the raft at the end of the last part. So now we can actually advance a little further into this place. Now, as tempting it is to go on this, you don't want to go on that just yet. And if you look at the map, it looks a little complicated. But basically, this leads to the boss, so you can't go that way yet. You have no boss key. And yes, there are boss keys in this quest. So pretty much gonna have to make our way all the way back down to the basement. So again, with all the shortcuts you open up, it shouldn't take quite as long. I guess I can show off some of the other paths with the raft. So there's actually one passage here, kind of get you used to using the raft. So it's basically just going to keep going until basically it bounces off the planks. But another thing to note is that if you're next to a plank, you can actually change its direction. You should be able to change its direction on this thing. And there's only certain spots you can do that, though. And see, that's easy to miss right there. You can turn up right there. Trying to get to that plank on the left there. And all that's just for 20 arrows. It's really not that big a deal. But you're gonna have to do this sort of thing later on. So just kind of show how the raft works. Because it gets a little more complicated when you have to do it for real to get to some of the other stuff in this place. So yeah, you gotta do a little bit of backtracking. You gotta go all the way back down to the basement, basically. At least I'm keeping my bomb supply up. So yeah, you're gonna have to lower the water all the way back down to the bottom. So this is where it gets a little bit annoying. luckily with all the shortcuts you open up, it doesn't take nearly as long to do this. You have to make sure that shortcut works, otherwise you're just going to have to work all the way around again. And make sure the switch works properly. Now, I don't think you're supposed to lower the water here again. Because you're going to dry up everything. You can't, there's no water left. So now that we have the raft, we can actually go on across this. Oh goody, figure out which plank you want to go on first. Okay, so this takes you in a circle. Although I think you can actually break through it because this pillar, I think you can go up. You can kind of get around that, but let's see where the other raft path goes to. And just try to bide some time and try to figure out which way you're supposed to go on this thing. Alright, so eventually you're gonna get down to this path, and I think this path should be pretty linear, and just kind of let it take you all the way down this bit of water. And it'll actually take you to this room that you couldn't get to before. And this wall is actually pretty easy to see. You can blow up. And you gotta make sure you have the other key, because you need this to open this chest. There's your boss key. That's why it's good to try to pick up the keys as soon as possible, so you don't have to worry about this. Alright, pretty much done with this place. And we can actually head to the boss. Now it's going on to this raft path. Now it's a little trickier with this one, how this works. So you may have to do some scouting to try to see how this, how these paths work. I think there's one tricky point on this to try to figure out. There we go. Because there was a plank below that you can't see. So it's just like... I don't even know how you're supposed to know this, so I mean, you're probably going to go on the raft a bit and just going to have to experiment until you figure out what to do with it. So just kind of make your way around. Eventually you're going to get to the switch here. You're just going to have to work your way all the way around this. gets kind of confusing to understand this, though. It's kind of going in circles or something. You're putting the raft to better use than just using it on the... What, the original Zelda was like just 2 screens or something? And here, you just... Whole mazes are constructed with these raft paths. Alright, head up into this room. Yeah, it took a while to get through this place. So, got a boss to fight and it's ready to land molas. Yeah. If you want to get rid of the little land molas, that might help you a little bit. And luckily they drop refills, so... But your target's actually this thing. Yeah, take out everything you can find. Luckily, I don't think that did 2 hearts. It looked like it only did 1. Thank goodness. Well, I got enough refills anyway. Get rid of all the garbage around here. And then just beat up this thing. Yeah, luckily you get plenty of refills, so, you take out the other land molas just to recharge. And it looks like the grass even grows back so you can, get more refills from this. And we get a full heart container for this. Finishing this long level. And it's actually very linear because you actually have to take out that level to open up the next path. So you can't even really sequence break. Alright, so that's level 1, and that took quite a while to get through, and the levels afterwards are not really any shorter than this. This is actually supposed to be a pretty simple one. Alright, so we're going to do a little more exploration, now that we got some items we can do a little more scouting with. We'll do that on the next part. Alright, see you guys later.